Another Marble League has concluded. While we got some old faces, we also got some teams you don't really see that much. Who finished on top and who didn't? Let's get started. First team up, the Chocolatiers. Oh boy. After a strong qualifiers against a really good group, I thought things would be different for this team. That wasn't the case. When it came to the first half of the year, they were in decent position. Very inconsistent, yes, but they weren't out of reach. When the second half rolled around, there wasn't anything good that this team did. Bottom half finishes kept piling up for this team, and they would have one of the weakest second halves out of any team. The only saving grace is that Bama would end the season with a bronze. Even so, it was still a rough season for the Chocolatiers. And the thing is, this isn't new to them either. They did the same thing in 2022. Do the best out of everyone in their group before completely folding in the main league. Both years included a single bronze by Bonbon. The difference is, the Chocolatiers didn't finish 14th this time. They finished last. Another thing, I thought this team would win the league. Isn't that crazy? The Blackjacks are back in business. And as the years go by, they are slowly becoming a mainstay. Their first half was all over the place, with last in balancing, a bronze in domino bowling. They could have had another bronze in hurdles, but Diamond did that. It wasn't looking too bad for the Jacks until they kicked the second half off with 5 points in 3 events. It would cause them to drop to last, but they would rebound with a gold in archery. And speaking of which, every time the Blackjacks win an event in the Marble League, the Kobalts would finish in second. The rest of their second half wouldn't be too bad outside of a 14th place finish in underwater race. And for some reason, Coach Jack thought it was a good idea to have Spade run 4 events, while their captain Hart would only do 1. Still, the Blackjacks would finish in 12th, which wouldn't be too hot, but hey, it could have been worse. Coming off of their 4th overall podium, Melo Yellow is back for another year, and they actually performed quite mellow. They would normally finish at the top or the bottom of the standings, but not for this year. They even had as many top half finishes as they did bottom half. They also had themselves a 2-event stretch in which they performed like peak Melo Yellow both times, performing really poorly in funnels, an event they're historically bad at, and their captain Yellow showing that they are the best sprinter of all time, winning their 4th gold in this event. They also managed to win a gold in javelin alongside Yellow, making them one of the best marbles for this year. Though some of their performances were up and down, Melo Yellow as a team would finish 8th overall. It's a rather chill year for them. Speaking of teams proving themselves as mainstays, the Bumblebees are back. And like most of their years, the Bees were very consistent. Though they had only 2 medals, it did help for the fact that they had the most double-digit scorings out of any team. What also helped the Bees is that they only had 1 finish in the bottom 4, even if that was a last place at halfpipe. They also tied for the most top half finishes this year. And I find it interesting that the Bees' only medals for this year were by former Hornets members, Stinger in short track, and Hive, winning the Bumblebees their first ever individual gold. Adding those 2 marbles onto the team has really paid off for the Bumblebees. The Bees this year would finish in 6th, and with a team as consistent as them, you would think that they have more than 2 top half finishes in their history. Only difference is they ended the year with an at least subpar performance. A pretty good year for a team some people thought the Bees would do bad in. Before I move on to the next team, I'm just going to get this out the way. While I was in the middle of my Bumblebee section, word just got out that Yuan Rong is out as Balls of Chaos head coach. And wow, their tenure went by a bit quick. Their 3 seasons as coach went by the same as Harmony's first 3 seasons. And speaking of Harmony, it would be crazy if they get hired by the Balls of Chaos again. Alright, onto the Oceanics. And speaking of teams that were pretty consistent with not much medals, the Oceanics are here, coming off of their best season yet. Though their start to the season would be rather shaky. Although they obtained a silver in domino bowling, half of their finishes in the first half would be in the bottom 3, including a last place finish in relay. I would put them in 15th after the first half, but the second half would go much better, consistently placing top half, most of them being double-digit scorings. The only problem for the Oceanics is that none of them were medals. Though their streak came to an end at the final event, it was still a serviceable season for the Oceanics as they would finish in 9th, which might not say a lot, but given the fact that they earned only 1 medal, it works. And would you look at that, everybody's favorite cat's eyes are back in the league. And they look really underwhelming, especially in team events. Out of the 7 team events, the cat's eyes scored less than 5 points in 5 of them, playing a key part in them finishing last in the captain standings. And speaking of Red Eye, it didn't seem like they did a lot this year, their most notable moment being a podium miss in Sand Maze. The team's biggest highlights were Blue Eye getting silver in underwater race and Orange Eye, you know, the marble that was chosen to compete in 2025's Christmas race over the reserve Cyanide when they were a guest at the time. That marble did more in their debut than Cyanide did in their entire tenure at CCE. They also scored more in one event than Red Eye did in 3. That's how things go sometimes. The Cat's Eyes themselves would finish in 13th, their first ever bottom 4 finish. Ever since missing out on the 2023 championship, the Savage Spears have been on a bit of a decline. They qualified by 1 point over the Rangers, and they would have to make the most of this opportunity. The team's first half would be hit or miss, having a pair of last place finishes in domino bowling and short track. But they would also counter that with a pair of silvers by Speedy in hurdles, the event they won 10 years ago, and Stone Toss, where they showed just as good of an effort. They would be in 7th at the halfway point, and they would start the second half off decently, obtaining a bronze in javelin and back-to-back top half performances in the next 2 events. They would still be in 7th with 5 events left. Last year, the Speeders were in 4th with 5 events to go and responded by scoring 25 points in the final 5 events and dropped to 11th. Let's see how they do for this year. For archery, they did a complete opposite of what they did in domino bowling and would take last as a result. Rapidly, who's normally pretty good at underwater race, had an unfortunate end in their heats and would finish 11th. Velocity didn't have a good time in Sand Maze and would take 13th. The entire team immediately fell apart in Sumo and would finish last. And to end things off in style for Rallycross, Speedy would drop out early and would finish in 15th. 9 points in the final 5 events, the lowest amount of points scored in the second half by any team. 4 finishes of last made them an easy candidate for most leg Q points. You put those together and the Speeders would finish 15th for this year. Their last 3 years were nothing like the Speeders of old. Coming off of their lowest performance to date, the Razzies have something to prove for this year. After an easy qualifying, their first half for this year will be like most of their first halves. They will earn themselves 4 medals, one of them being Rezzy doing Rezzy things in funnels. 3 of those 4 medals being 3 in a row to end the first half. They will find themselves in second, only 8 points behind the leader. When it comes to this year's second half, it will go like most of their second halves. The team went at a mediocre pace, scoring double digits in none of the second half events. It felt like a slow fall down the order as the team remained stagnant while everyone else is going up and down. Still, they had a decent shot to podium if not win, until Rizzy did that thing where they forgot they're supposed to be competing and took 14th. The Razzies season as a whole would go for them being 5th. A solid season and the team's best finish in a while, but like most of their years, it could have been better. The best part about this team's season? Piney's Razzies animation. That is some heat. We love to see it. And speaking of animation, I gotta talk about the animations done by Shiny Swarm 25 and the Ice Elemental because those are some heat. And apparently there were 4 animations but only 3 could be shown, which leaves me with one question. Who created the 4th animation? Alright, on to the second half. The Snowballs are back. They had a bit of a setback last year finishing 13th, but they are here to prove that 2024 wasn't a one-time show. When it comes to how they performed this year, it felt like the opposite of how they did last year. Snowy, who was last year's most valuable marble, didn't really do that good this year. Outside of a decent showing in underwater race, they had 4 points in the other 3 events. For Snowy's teammates, they didn't really get to do much last year, but when they were given the opportunity this year, they showed that they can compete. The Snowballs went from having the hardest time in team events last year to being the best in team events this year, easily making Snowy best captain. I'd say it was a fair trade. This ended up being a pretty good year for the Snowballs, finishing in 3rd and auto-qualifying for the 2nd time in a 3-year span. And to think out of these 4 teams right here, the one with the best 3-year stretch is the Snowballs. We're truly living in a timeline. The Green Ducks are back in another main league, and they are hoping that this will be the year they finally become champions. They are the best team to not have won a championship and have won their group in qualifiers, so surely this has to be the year for them. It was, in fact, not the year for the Green Ducks. This team's best season was their rookie year, and the closest they have come to that was in 2024. To simply put it, this was a bad year for the Ducks. Their first half wasn't anything special, sitting in 14th with no medals. Like the Wisps in 2022, who also won their group, the Ducks spent most of their time battling to avoid last. Not even the grim adventures of Billy and Melo could save them. How the Ducks performed in team events really brought them down. Most of their performances were underwhelming, but they don't finish last in the team captain standings because of their bronze in sumo, which also happened to be their only medal of the season. The Ducks, for the second year in a row, finished 14th. If they keep this up, they'll be seen as a potential champion. It doesn't matter if they needed a photo finish to go in their favor, Team Plasma is back in the main league for the first time since 2023, into which they had a pretty serviceable year. Their first half contained some decent finishes. They were one of two teams to not have a bottom 4 finish in the first half. All but 2 of their finishes being top half, including Stone Toss, where Glumo made one of the best plays for this year, helping them not only advance over the Kobalts, but also obtain bronze in that same event. As for why I mentioned Team Plasma not having a bottom 4 finish yet, mostly because out of the 16 events Team Plasma partook in, at least one member of the Clown Fiesta predicted them to finish bottom 3 in 12 of them. And here's the thing, after they made their half-pipe predictions, me and another guy pointed out how Plasma is always predicted to finish in the bottom 3. In response, none of the Clown Fiesta members predict Plasma to finish bottom 3 in Swing Wave. And how does Team Plasma respond? They finished 15th. Their first and only bottom 3 finish of the year. On the bright side, Team Plasma did manage to win a gold in sumo. Overall, Plasma would finish in 10th, a better showing than 2023. With Hazy heading into their second year as coach, the Hazers are looking to return to form. And good news for the Hazers, block pushing will not be up for this year. So surely, there is nothing that can stop the Hazers now. Their first half would be pretty solid, obtaining gold in relay and a silver in sprint. The team clearly showcasing their speed. For how the first half would end, they would make up for not partaking in block pushing by taking last in Stone Toss. Still, the team would be in 4th at the halfway points, and their second half would be, while decent, also hit or miss. While they had some solid finishes in half-pipe and javelin, Swing Wave would be crazy, scoring 7 points in their first run before completely turning it around with 46 in the second, earning them a silver. And Smoggy would have a phenomenal showing in underwater race, earning their first ever Marble League gold. They would then respond by taking last in the very next event. Though their end to the season was rather mediocre, the Hazers would still do pretty good finishing in 4th. It's a pretty good finish for the Hazers and their best since 2021. Let's see if Hazy can help the team strive for further excellence. Every year, only one orange team can compete in the Marble League, and for this year, it's the Solar Flares. And for this year, they started off with a bang, taking gold in the first event. Radiance will also have a decent showing in short track, but after that, the rest of their first half would be hit or miss. Or in this case, mostly miss because they scored 3 points in the Triple Crown for speed events. Team can't roll fast to save their lives. And their second half will be just as wacky as their first half, showing signs of greatness like a silver in half-pipe and a bronze by Radiance in underwater race. They will also have finishes like a 13th in javelin and a 15th in sumo. Fortunately for the Flares, they will end the year the same way as they started, with a gold medal. And for how this year would go for the Flares, it would be similar to 2024. 2 gold medals, 1 silver, 1 bronze, 2 last place finishes in the first half, finishing ahead of a former champion by tiebreaker, Radiance having a strong season, 7th overall. They're starting to find their pace, coming off of a major breakout season that resulted in them being the most unexpected champions since the 2022 Pinkies. The Kobalts are here to defend their title. They did everything but attempt that in the first half, their highest placement at the time being 6th. They only had 2 top half placements at the time and would have 38 points at the halfway mark, 16 points behind 15th. They not only on lowest placing defending champion alert, but they were also in anti-record talks. They fortunately broke themselves out of those talks with a record-breaking golden half-pipe. They also added on to their second half with a silver in archery and Royal being Royal earning another silver in sand maze. One problem, those 3 medals in the second half were also their only top half placements. This was not a good tower defense by an unexpected champion, but fortunately it wasn't the worst as they somehow managed to finish 11th. Considering they were in anti-record talks at some point, it could have been worse. As for their rookie, they may be better than Azure, but they lack the chemistry that Azure had with the team. And good news, Kobalts, you don't have to worry about qualifiers for the second year in a row as you're hosting 2027. Something about the elements Kobalts being atomic number 27, though it does have potential for a pretty good theme. The Indigo Stars are back in the league for the first time since 2021. And with how they kick things off, they let the other teams know that they are here to perform, obtaining 4 medals in the first 5 events. A 34 points lead, though it was only event 5, so there was a lot of time to come back. The rest of their first half wouldn't be too bad, and they would have the lead with 109 points at the halfway mark. If they could do decent in the second half, that would be good. Their start to the second half would be rocky, taking last in Javelin and 12th in halfpipe. They would lose their lead to the Razzies but would immediately take it back with a bronze and swing wave. The rest of their second half would be consistently okay, and they would find themselves in a title battle with the Snowballs, Razzies, Pinkies, and Hazers. They have a 13-point lead heading into Rallycross. If Diego can hold it down, the team will be in great position.
Snowballs get the win. Green Ducks and Pinkies were very close. Oceanics in 4th. Watch down at the bottom. It's Indigo Stars. Now down into the survival. Those cones have been tricky, and Snowballs ace it again. Green Ducks come 2nd. Kobalts. Savage Speeders, they finish down there again. Indigo Stars only 11th. We'll have to look at the average to see who gets knocked out. And pulling up the numbers, Indigo Stars will not make it. And our championship leader is out.
Where did you go 4th quarter? When I needed you, you had 0 points!
Diego instead finished with 0 points. And because of that, the Stars will finish in 2nd. It's a heartbreaking finish to a breakout season. A great year it was for the Stars. If you're a Stars fan, just hope that this wasn't your team's only shot at a championship. Oh, and one more thing.
Stars earn a silver and all they get is slander. That's all they deserve, is slander.
Yep. Well, yeah. Turn that silver into a silver overall and shut us up.
Well, they did get 2nd, so yeah. Now on to the team that became champions. The first team to be introduced in the Marble League. The first and only team to have their coach compete in an event. The hosts of 2026, the Pinkies. And what a journey it has been for them. For how they would start the year off, it would be a bit slow, starting in 15th. From then on, the Pinkies would make sure that would be their only placement in the bottom 4. One of the team's main highlights in the first half would be in hurdles. Their captain Pinky Toe, who got disqualified in the same event at the inaugural Marble League, would redeem themselves with a photo finish gold over 2016 hurdles winner Speedy. They would add on to that with a bronze in the very next event. By halftime, the Pinkies would find themselves in 3rd. As for the second half, events 9 through 13 would mostly be middle ground, outside of a bronze in halfpipe, and a 12th in swing wave, but that's besides the point. After underwater race, the Pinkies would find themselves in 6th with 3 events to go, 30 points behind the Snowballs. And in these final 3 events, the Pinkies turned things up. Captain Pinky Toe making their way through with a bronze in Sand Maze. For Sumo, they got past their first 2 rounds with ease. And in the semifinals, they met up with the Indigo Stars, who were leading the standings at the time. If the Pinkies lose this matchup, the Stars have a chance to confirm themselves as champions before the final event. The Pinkies made sure to not let that happen, and they would go on to get a silver, while the Stars would miss out on the podium. 13 points behind with 1 event to go. It would be Pinky Toe's time to shine at Rallycross. Things would start off good for the Pinkies. With Diego out of the way early, the door is as wide open as it can get. Round after round is passing by and the Pinkies are still competing. They would eventually find themselves in the final round. If Pinky Toe podiums, they will have made history. If not, then golden glory goes to the Stars. Pinky Toe knew the assignment. They want a second championship.
As long as they do not finish last, they can win, and they are quick out of the gate. The Pinkies want to bring this home and win it outright, but I don't think they're going to. Solar flares are well off into the distance. Pinkies have to keep going, and they cannot get stuck. That was one problematic area. Here they come into the survival portion. This is a team that was made up of actors that combined their forces and their love of competition, and now the Pinkies have brought a Marble League championship home.
If you didn't think this team was a powerhouse before, for some reason, then they are for sure a powerhouse now. These last 5 years for the Pinkies have been something. A team that was once seen as the joke of the Marble League are now the second team to become two-time Marble League champions. The first team to win a championship in their home stadium. That silver by Pinky Toe solidified them as MVM. Ever since the awards were announced, the Pinkies have become the first team to win a championship, have the most valuable marble, and the best coach all in the same season. What a year it was for them. They've earned their stripes. And that was the 2026 Marble League. To celebrate the 10-year anniversary, some teams came to perform while others didn't. But in the end, the Pinkies are champs, and they will be joined by the Indigo Stars, Snowballs, and Kobalts for 2027. When it comes to sponsors, the Rojo Rollers have stole the show for the second year in a row. Last year they had no sponsor, and this year I do this out of pity. Another thing I wanted to mention, the Thunderbolts. 5 teams this year have surpassed or matched their total gold count. And as a bonus, the Pinkies have as many championships as the Thunderbolts do gold medals. Crazy to think. And one more thing, I do want to try and make different content aside from marble videos, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of content. I'll figure that out at some point, but until then, take care.